Welcome, everybody. Happy Tuesday to you. Please share if you will. Hey, Judy. Hey, Robin. Good to see you. Go ahead and tweet this and we'll get started in just a moment. Good morning, Carmen, Judy, Robin, Emily, Renee, Karen. Good to see you. Thank you for sharing. Don't forget, today we have God's views on political news, which will be at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. Hope that you'll be able to attend that today. Good morning, good morning. How is everybody doing? Good to see everybody. There you are. Hello, hello. Good to see you. Hope you had a great Labor Day weekend. Good morning, good morning. How's everybody? Hey, Jamie. Hello, America. How are you? Hey, Don. Good morning and blessings to you, too. Good to see everybody. Hi, Ivans. Lurk a dash. I got that right. I wanted to show you yesterday. We went to a ballpark yesterday. This was Gracie's first time ever at a ballpark. Thanks, Carmen. Hey, Lori. Hey, Lee. So this was Gracie at her first minor league baseball game yesterday, and she had a wonderful, wonderful time. So that's her taking in the scenery, figuring out exactly what to do. So, hey, Jules, good to see you. Hey, Kelly. So anyway, I wanted to share that with you. I had put that on my timeline yesterday, but wasn't sure everybody got to see it. Robin said, "Sweet Gracie, that picture of Gracie is so lovely." Lee said, "Thank you." Renee said, "Great picture." Teresa, hey Teresa. And mentioned to everybody that just came in about God's views on political news. Let me quickly read to you a little bit in Proverbs, and then we'll get started. The wicked flee when no one pursues, but the righteous are bold as a lion. Because of the transgression of a land, many are its princes, but by a man of understanding and knowledge, right will be prolonged. A poor man who oppresses the poor is like a driving rain which leaves no food. Those who forsake the law praise the wicked, but such as keep the law contend with them. Evil men do not understand justice, but those who seek the Lord understand all. Amen. Proverbs 28. Good times. Yeah, it was really a great time, Jamie. We had a great time. Carmen said, "So cute." Thank you. Good morning. Good morning. And she's so good because she's loved and has adventures now. You saved her. Jules, she is having the time of her life, I'll have to say. She is enjoying every second of it. And she just, for the most part, sat in my lap and had a wonderful time and watched the game. Nothing bothered her, nothing scared her. I didn't know how she would handle the noise, but she was absolutely fine. And and the other dogs, of course, went too. So we'll have to take them back another time when another game and they can see it. So, did he catch a foul ball? Nope, she didn't catch a foul ball. There weren't any, not that very many foul balls. So no, she didn't do that. So, what a difference from when you got her, Judy. It is night and day. But you know what? As I say, Judy, that's what a lot of prayers do because we prayed continuously for her to get better. I mean, it was a lot of prayer. So I thank God that she is okay. All right, now I want to start a little bit. Good Tuesday. I had enough of all these hurricanes, Miss Andrew Vaughn. Hey, Miss Andrew Vaughn. How cool dogs are allowed. Well, on certain nights, usually Monday nights, Jules, they allow the dogs. So it's so great. Everybody, all three of them went, Carmen. They're not going to go without each other. So yeah, all three of them went, had a good time. Abby doesn't particularly like when the bat hits the ball. She's like, this is crazy and it makes a lot of noise and I don't really like it. So but she had a good time. No chat again, sick, whomever runs the site. Yeah, Karen, I'm not sure why there's no chat for you. Maybe you want to go out and come back in, or if you go to YouTube, you can see the chat that's going on in Periscope. Hey, Yuri, good morning. Patriot, sorry late, didn't get notification. Daniel said good morning. Good morning, everybody. Now, I want to start by showing you a little bit about the hurricane. I don't know if you've noticed, but it's trending, and they're calling it not Hurricane Dorian, but it's a Hurricane Doran or Dorian. I'm not sure why they did that, but it's a little weird. But anyway, let me see if I can bring this up and give you an update if it comes up and loads. And we'll get that started. Just a second. Everything's slow loading this morning. It's Tuesday. And now they're going to a commercial. So once that's done, yeah. YouTube, you can have YouTube open at the same time, and that might help you. I have chat. Yuri has chat doesn't work. Good morning. Yeah. So this is just a moment, and we'll cut over there to it. But it looks like that the hurricane is about set to leave the Bahamas at this point, and that everything is sort of slowing down as far as the wind gusts are concerned. I believe right now it's a Category 3. It looks like, from what I've seen this morning, that it's going to be more like a Category 2 as it goes up the coast, and that's really good news if that's the case. So for all of you who are in Florida, like Cully, hang on. Or get out. Don said, not seeing the chat in Facebook for some number of weeks now. Can see it in Periscope or on YouTube. Perhaps watch on Periscope or on YouTube. Yeah, please do, Don. Whichever one that you can get us. Maybe she can delete the app totally, then renew to get comments. Yeah, try that, Karen. Okay, here we go.
Told by the local officials to get out of these low-lying areas and these evacuation zones. It's good to do so because that water can get in early, get water on the streets before you leave. So get out when told by the local officials. It's real important. So 3 to 5 feet on places, some of the cities, Melbourne, West Palm Beach, some areas, not every area gets that, but some of the low-lying areas could get some of this water, so that could flood some of the streets and beaches. As we travel northward, as we see the storm continue to move north, we can see 4 to 7 feet where the water gets trapped in some of these areas. You see the shape of the coastline there, and that has a lot to do with storm surge values and actually looking at the bathymetry, how the shape of the ocean and how the slope is. If it's a more shallow slope, in other words, you can push the water in further, a steep slope, you get less storm surge. So all that goes into these calculations. So 4 to 7 feet in some of these areas, and of course that becomes very dangerous. Rainfall-wise, look at the rain. Now, luckily the heaviest rain will be right along the center and to the right. So as a result, the heaviest rain will remain offshore. However, there's still some high amounts. In orange here, 6 to 10 inches of rain. It stretches right along the coastline there into the Carolinas and even over to the Outer Banks. So that's quite a bit of rain. Could cause some flooding as well. Just offshore, you can see some of the 10 to 15 values get very close to the coast. A little movement, just a small jog, a little wobble, and all of a sudden you can get some of those higher values stretch a little further inland. For the Florida coast right now, looking at areas of 4 to 6 inches of rain, but notice that 6 to 10 is right there on the shore. So a small change in the path, all of a sudden you can get some changes as well with the rain. So look at the onset graphic here.
Let me turn this off. It looks like, again, that it has slowed down a bit as far as the speed of it. I think the winds are now maybe the 120 mile per hour range. They were well over 150. When they went to Category 5, I think it was just insane. And the people in the Bahamas, I mean, they're still trying to hold on. Karen said, my brother is on the coast of Wilmington, South Carolina. I hope they decide to leave. Karen said 25 miles from the coast, no school, no mail, no trash, no pickup, but business as usual. Wow. Hey, Pamela, I pray in Jesus' name the hurricane just disappears. Absolutely. Cully said the beaches will get hit the hardest. And good morning, Kim. How are you over there on YouTube? Yeah, I think it's pretty horrible. I know the Bahamas, there have been 5 people so far that have died because of it. So that's not good. Our friends who are missionaries on Abaco got hit badly. I believe it was a Cat 5 when it hit them. They have been heard from and are safe. They will be airlifted out because the island is bad. Angelica, that's what I heard too, and seeing some of the video was horrific. I know nothing about the Bahamas. Are they a self-government? Judy, I don't know what happens in the Bahamas. Okay, this is weird. I heard the weather video, but I can't hear you. I'll try Periscope, Kim said. Mandatory evacuations were put in place from all of the coastal lying areas of South Carolina lane reversals for major highways were implemented. I heard also that the other day that Georgia had an evacuation, mandatory evacuation, and Virginia just had some sort of evacuation plan going. So hopefully by the time that it reaches Virginia and on up there, that it will be just veering off and going the other way. I'm surprised they didn't call it Hurricane Donald. I know. Angelica said, I can hear you. Yeah, I think some people maybe with their something in their settings, they need to kind of check their settings or delete the apps and come back on. Hey, Danielle. Because everybody has a different experience, I think, on YouTube and Periscope and everything else. But yeah, pray for those people who are still in the pathway of Hurricane Dorian. And like I said, the hashtag is Hurricane Dorian. Somebody misspelled it and it just went with it. Kim said, my friend's mother lives in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. My son lives in North Carolina. Please keep both in your prayers. Absolutely, Kim. Again, I think it's not so bad for some people, and as we get further along in the days, but I know that right now it sounds like that it is really coming towards the coast at this point from the Bahamas. Yeah, Danielle, somebody told Danielle to check the phone update. Apple had one not long ago. Some people are getting sound, some people aren't. That again, that's your equipment. It's not my equipment this time. So please check that. Well, darn, I can't hear you either. Have a great day. Kim, check everything. Check. Something has to be wrong with your settings. I don't know what it is, but Anyway, okay. So let's get started here in some of the news from the other day. I don't know if you were able to hear anything about Flynn. I had an article on Flynn at SusanKnowles.com. Hey, Barbara, good to see you. And Eastern North Carolina is going to feel the brunt of this storm when it gets to that part of North Carolina. It'll be a category 2 or 3, Jamie said. What category is it now? Angelica, I heard a category 3. I can hear on YouTube and Periscope just fine, Robin said. We're still waiting here in South Florida. Stuart James here in Florida. Stuart, I hope you are safe. Hope your family is safe. You're in our prayers. Yuri said, I hear fine and see fine. Yep, go out and come back in, everybody. That's having problems. And get rid of the app and bring it back in. Before I get to the Flynn story, let me just say that Chicago, if anybody is asking, 43 people were shot over the Labor Day weekend and 8 died. So just so you know, Coley said the Scope and Facebook are working just fine. Doesn't seem that very many people ask about Chicago. I'm good on YouTube chat and volume. Good, Karen. All Android and iPhones just had an update. Everybody should be updating their apps. Thank you, Jamie. Absolutely. Okay, so my article on Flynn at SusanKnowles.com. Here's what his attorney Sidney Powell said. First, the government continues to deny our requests for security clearances. Our attempts to resolve that issue with the government have come to a dead end, thus requiring the intervention of the court. There is other information relevant to the defense that is either classified or being suppressed by the government, not the least of which are the transcripts and recordings of the phone calls that supposedly underpin the charges against Mr. Flynn. The government has steadfastly refused to produce these even to this court. And second, the government has also failed to produce, among other things, the original or first draft of the FBI 302s. Those are so important. Those 302s are what the notes that they took during the interrogation, the interview that they had with Flynn, the one where they said, oh, you don't need an attorney, we're just coming over to talk, no big deal. Well, she can't get her hands on that, and there's a file which they repeatedly requested, and any records or documents that show everyone who made changes to the 302. Sydney is hoping, she said during an interview with Greg Jarrett, that she's hoping to show that there's egregious government conduct warranting dismissal of the entire thing. I hope so. And she expects to find evidence to fully exonerate Flynn. People flipping out about Chicago amaze me. This is a daily event for them. They just don't do anything about it. Karen said, absolutely, they don't. Hey, Nick, good day to you. More killed in Chicago than the Bahamas, Cully said. Yep. Jamie said, only 43. I know. Can you believe that? Well, 43 injured, 8 killed. And, how can they refuse if Flynn was part of it? They can't, Judy. He did less than Comey. Hey, Danielle. If you look at it, Flynn didn't really do anything, was my Bluetooth, Danielle said. Okay, cool, Danielle. I'm glad you figured that out. And all these other people, I mean, Comey did far more, like you said. And Comey right now is just walking scot-free. So this is really ridiculous for Flynn. I'm hoping that if it goes to the court system and they don't get all the information, or the court for whatever reason doesn't dismiss it, I think it's time that President Trump pardons him. I really do. I really do. And it's Manafort maybe too. I know Manafort did some things, but President Trump could grant him clemency so he could get out for time served and still have that on his record if they wanted to do that. Barbara said he was entrapped. Yes, he was, Barbara. He totally, well, they wouldn't agree with that, but yes, I think that he was entrapped myself. All right. So, let's see. A full and complete pardon for Flynn. That would be great. That would be really nice. Carmen says she agrees. Yeah, I mean, it's just ridiculous. Everybody else just kind of skates on by, and here he is still going through hell. And look at Roger Stone. Like, what's happening with Roger Stone? With Comey, with the Mueller, being done. Who's picked up the mantle now and going after Roger Stone? Is it New York? What are they finding out about him? It's time. I'm not a Roger Stone fan. I really am not. But it's time to either drop it or do something. So, it's crazy to keep this going and do nothing. And like Jerome Corsi, what finally happened with Jerome Corsi? Is he still on the hook? Is anything happening? Ridiculous. All right. Now we have this lovely lady here is Ellen Weintraub. I have an article today at SusanKnowles.com. Cindy said Twitter won't let me share it. Cindy, just do it afterwards, if you will. I don't know why it's doing that. Yes, I agree. They go in guns blazing, then you hear nothing. Karen said, I'm not a Stone fan either, but this is about equal justice. Exactly, Judy. Exactly. If you're going to do something, do something. If you're not, let's move it along. At this point, Stone does not matter. He knew nothing at all. Good morning, Monica. This woman is nuts, Weintraub. Yep. Karen, she seems to, well, you kind of expect the people who are, let's say, in the FEC, everybody has a political lean to them one way or the other. But you expect her bias as an FEC chair to be kind of put on hold. But not with this woman. She came out the other day at MSNBC. She's talking about, and again, this article is at SusanKnowles.com. She's talking about how she's just, she's just not confident about the electoral college, and she's not sure that people are going to have confidence in the electoral college. And there you see it is my website at SusanKnowles.com. And so she goes on to talk about how she's not sure about it. Now, this is a woman, the Federal Elections Committee. Okay, I will play on iPad. I'm in an appointment with earbuds in. Okay, Cindy, sorry. They are definitely trying to get rid of the Electoral College. Absolutely. Why is that? We all know why. Because if you do that, then places like California, New York, all of the huge mass population, they will be deciding everything for this country. Now, we've already seen what happens when California is in charge, when you have the Democrats in charge in California. What happens is that you have everything going to the liberal left. Everything. I've left confidence in the popular vote, Judy said. But she sounded very unintelligent. You know, this is a woman that is well educated, and she sounded very unintelligent by saying that. Why? Because she has an agenda. And that's why she said it. She also says there's no such thing as election fraud. Now, we know that there is, but she says, nope, sorry, nothing. I heard that you already can have ID. I didn't know, or that's true. We have no ID in California for voter. Why does she still have this job? You know, Tim, that's a very good question, because as you probably, if you read my article, and I think you did, she's been on the commission since 2002. 2002. Okay, she's been a commissioner, I believe it was, since 2011. She's obviously biased. She blames the Republicans for not doing anything about the interference from outside, you know, foreign powers like Russia. And if you read the quote that she had in my article, you'll see that she's very much against Republicans. I read your article and we'll share after the show. Thank you, Robin. And yet, you know, when she was talking about, well, a lot of times people were happy because the popular vote and the electoral vote, whoever got one got the other. But people aren't so happy. And it was like wink, wink, nod, nod. You know, I'm talking about Hillary here. And she's also talking about George Bush and Donald Trump, because neither one of them, they got the electoral college vote, but not the popular vote. Perhaps there's some discrepancy of whether Hillary really did get that. Danielle said, traveling but listening, Susan. Okay, Danielle. Safe travels. So, I don't know. This woman needs to go. She really does. I met yesterday a man from California, and he told me ID. No, there's no ID in California. Nope, nope, nope. You walk in, Yuri, and you have your little voting pamphlet. You put it down on the desk so they can see it and read it easier. And then you sign, and you're done. There is no ID, no voter ID, no driver's license, no nothing. Obama was in charge when the elections happened, Elaine said. Yes. But it's really easy and convenient for them to forget that. And that's exactly what they want you to forget too. They want you not to have any faith in the elections, and they want you to believe that there's something wrong with the electoral college. Now, our founding fathers deliberately knew that the bigger states would have more power and more say so if you didn't do the electoral college, and she knows that. Now, this one of the things I did, I found that information out about her when looking for it, doing research. Hey, Wayne. Hey, sis, I'm listening. Just busy. Love your show. Thank you, Wayne, so much. Glad you're just listening, even if you're just listening. Robin said, with all the illegals voting, I doubt Hillary got the real votes. Exactly. We get voter card in the mail and only have to show that in California. I have to show ID card and my driver's license before I can vote, though it was that way everywhere. Thought it was that way everywhere. Nope. Nope, Karen, we don't have to show a darn thing. I can go in there and say, I don't even have to show my pamphlet. I don't have to bring that voter pamphlet with me. That's just to make it more convenient for the people who are signing you in. So, as I said before, even when I went the last time, when it was for voting for president, they gave me the wrong place to sign in, the wrong everything. I had to keep really paying attention to what I was getting. Now, it's a few swing counties and a few states that decide the election, Faba said. Changing it won't happen. No, it won't happen. I'm grateful we still have to show ID here to vote, Robin said. That's in Kentucky. That's just wrong, Karen said. Yeah, there's a lot of things wrong, Karen, that need to be changed, and they're just not going to do it in California. They're just not going to do it, because this way you can have other people voting that shouldn't be voting. I'm imagining that's what it is. I mean, if you look at what Judicial Watch did when they got a court to grant them permission to make LA County take all of those names off the voter list, about 1 million names that either weren't legitimate or had never voted or hadn't voted in years. No ID needed in Minnesota either, Judy said. Just say your name and you can vote. That's right, Sylvia. You don't even have to say your name. You can just point. Oh, that's me right there. Cindy said apparently now anyone who lands in California for 24 hours can vote even if you are a citizen. I haven't heard of that, Cindy. I don't know where you saw that, but I would need to see a link on that because I don't think that's right. You have to be a resident of California as far as I know. So if you have a link on that, show me. Hey Nikolai, good morning. That's because Minnesota has a corrupt congresswoman and government, Karen said. Judicial Watch is awesome. Hope they keep going after illegal votes. Me too, Robin. Me too. Because without Judicial Watch, we wouldn't have a lot of this. Now, one other thing about this lovely lady, Ellen Weinstein, or Weintraub. Don't know why I said Weinstein. I guess Rod Weinstein, Rosenstein. But anyway, Ellen Weintraub, she used to be, anyway, of counsel at Perkins Coie law firm. And you maybe remember about Perkins Coie, that's the law firm that the DNC and the Hillary Clinton campaign hired in order to dig up dirt on Donald Trump and his campaign. So, I mean, my gosh, these people, the deep state, they are all connected. I mean, it's like 1 degree away. Mayor Lightfoot got on Cruz because he brought up deaths in Chicago, of course. Sylvia, of course, meant you don't even have to be a citizen, just spend 24 hours. Oh, in Canada. In Canada. Sorry, Cindy. It didn't come out a minute ago when you put CA. The Attorney General is part of the problem in Minnesota. Yes, Judy. Alan said, or an illegal alien. Judicial Watch needs funding to keep going. He's now receiving death threats. I would not be surprised, Karen. But I'm sure he's received death threats for a long time. Now, let's see. There's also a little tweet. Let me find this. Here's a little tweet that Ellen was kind enough to show. Let me bring this up. Everything is really slow this morning. My gosh, it's Tuesday. This was Anderson Cooper. FEC Chair Ellen Weintraub says President Trump's baseless claims of election fraud undermine people's faith in the system. The end result is that it becomes harder to vote and more citizens end up disenfranchised. Our democracy, which we don't have, it's a republic, will be stronger if we can get more people to vote. Yeah, as if her talking about how the Electoral College isn't really good and how we really can't trust that, as if that doesn't cause people to lose faith in the election system, and that's her job. Okay, Susan, I know CA is Canada, California, not much difference except weather. Yeah, a lot different there. Heard that are back at it with the money paid to... Yeah, they are CMS. They're going to be going after, they're going to start hearings again on the payments to Stormy Daniels. So the House, Nadler, going to be going after Trump. I believe it's Nadler. Going after Trump, going to bring in witnesses, going to do hearings on Stormy Daniels. She's a fraud, yeah. So we got to find out. We're going to keep digging as to where these payments came from, how they came to be. You know what they want to do is they want to find campaign finance violations. They want to blame it on President Trump, and then they want to start impeachment process. That's exactly what they're headed for. Sister just got back from Pasadena, California. She said cops were hardcore. Yeah, the cops in California, they don't mess around. You know, you think that, oh, everybody's all laid back in California, things don't happen. That's not true. The police are pretty tough here. They really are. They don't take any of your crap. So we are at the halfway point. That zoomed by. If you can, please share, retweet. That would be great. Let me do mine, and then we'll move ahead. Just seeing a breaking news that Hurricane Dorian has now weakened to a Category 2, but it has a wide range. It's widening, so they say that'll make difficulty. I'd almost forgotten about Nadler. Nick said, hey, Alexis, if they have all these indictments on their members of Congress, why is nobody being indicted? Well, Karen, we all know the answer to that. Yeah, Cindy said cops have to be. Yeah, they have to be. You know, it's a dangerous world, especially in California. You get a lot of crazy stuff going on in California. I'm sure just like everywhere else, but There's a lot of crazy stuff. Hey, Marlene, I didn't see you come in. So in Texas, the legislation passed in May by Texas lawmakers to allow residents with legally owned firearms to take their weapons with them during a state of emergency went into effect on Sunday. They just keep going in circles. The Democrats, like a dog chasing its tail, Elaine said. That's because, Elaine, they have nothing else. They have to go in circles. Marlene said, I'm getting a rain ban 150 miles wide. Yeah, it's widening. It may be slowing down to a category 2, but it is widening. And so that can cause a lot of damage. Praying for the Bahamas and all in hurricanes wake. Yep. That's a lot area all the way up the coast. So, and I don't know how close it is to Florida and if it's going to make landfall or not, but it's, as we saw in the video earlier, it's right there, right against the coastline. So that's good for Texas that they're going to be doing that. Now, in other news, Biden. Let me go. Let me go to some news on Biden. I'm not really sure how much longer Biden can keep hiding the fact that he's having some difficulties. Joe Biden makes the most extreme gun control push of all the 2020 presidential candidates. Biden calls for banning magazines that can hold multiple bullets in them. All magazines hold multiple bullets. That's the point. This call from Biden would ban most handguns. I'm sure he didn't mean to say that. I'm sure. But he doesn't seem to understand what he's doing. And there now that are people who are taking up for him and saying, well, but it's not so important that Uncle Joe can't remember everything and that Uncle Joe can't remember where he's at or that Uncle Joe says these things. We want Uncle Joe because he's just a decent, reasonable guy. They have to clean house in the PD, get rid of the code of silence, get rid of the dirty and racist cops. Nothing will change until they do, Karen said. But, Karen, that's about like every profession. True cops have to be strict. They are in Canada, too. Getting some wins, not much rain, Cully said. Poor fella, Elaine said about Biden. Yes, Biden needs to retire. I think he is ill, seriously, not joking. Oh, I agree, Yuri. There's something wrong. I mean, he's 76. Biden is having major issues. He has no idea what he's talking about anymore, Robin said. Don't worry about Biden. He'll forget he said that the next day. Karen said, Biden wants double-barrel shotguns only. That's right, Cully. And nobody's brought that up when he said that about double-barrel shotguns, telling his wife to get that. Yeah, decent. So, yeah, nobody's bringing that up. Isn't that funny how we can bring everything up? Uncle Joe should not be running time to retire. It's true, Cindy. He said those remarks when he was talking at a press campaign in Iowa. He said there should be no compromise on guns, as he also voiced his anger at the state of Texas. Listen to this. Uncle Joe's mad at you people in Texas for allowing people to carry firearms in places of worship to defend themselves from those who seek to harm. And he said, and we're talking about loosening access to all to have guns, to be able to take them into places of worship. I mean, it is absolutely irrational. It's totally irrational. The idea that we don't have elimination of assault-type weapons, magazines that can hold multiple bullets in them, it's absolutely mindless. It's no violation of the Second Amendment. Biden was a joke as a VP, still a joke. Yeah, he's always been a joke, Barbara. He really has. I mean, it's unfortunate, but it's true. He's always pretty much been a joke. So, I'm a concealed carry gal. I do, however, don't think these military-type guns belong on the street. Karen, I don't really think that these military-type guns are on the street. I think you can get people, and let's talk about this again. We're going to talk about this more today on God's Views on Political News, coming on at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. LOL, what an idiot. Alan said, yeah, I know he is. Of course, Uncle Joe has his protection. It'll be hard to defend against anyone one bullet at a time, maybe as well go back to musket loader. There you go, Marlene. He probably is familiar with that. Well, they come to churches to kill people. It happens several times, and mosques too. Barbara, he didn't mention that. Oh no, Uncle Joe is mad at me. Yes, Wayne, he's mad at you. He's not my uncle, Monica said. Monica, he probably thinks he is. An AR-15 isn't a military gun. I think she was just generalizing Judy and saying a military style. It isn't, you're right. Across before me, my Glock in my hand, Barbara said. It's Democrats that are doing the shootings, Robin said. Yes. A pin pushing politics is more dangerous than most guns. A pin can take everyone's rights away, Wayne said. Absolutely true. I'm grateful you have Governor Abbott, Monica said. Yeah, I really think it's time, that we really have, hey, Della, that we have the conversation about mental health. These people who are doing this, they have mental health issues. It's almost like people have completely forgotten about what happened in Texas the other day and killing of the 7 people. He's a monkey's uncle, Daniel said. The killing of 7 people, injuring 22 others. I believe that was the final count. People have just gone on like, oh, it's no big deal. But something happened in Texas. That guy, and we'll talk more about it on God's Views. In my opinion, that guy had mental health issues that none of this would have stopped with background checks or red flag laws. All that you're going to do with red flag laws is just have it used against people who should be able to have a gun. The guy was a Beto supporter. Of course he was. Speaking of Robert Francis O'Rourke, he had some things to say about guns this weekend too, because, he's the gun expert. He's everybody's expert, right? When it comes to everything. He wants to be your president. So here's what he wants to do with your guns. He said, I was asked how I had addressed people's fears that we will take away their assault rifles. I want to be clear. That's exactly what we're going to do. Americans who own AR-15s and AK-47s will have to sell their assault weapons, all of them. So he didn't exactly say who they would be sold to. I'm going to assume that he meant the government. Is it true he was a dim? Who are we talking about, Monica? He failed. Oh, that guy. Yeah, yes, I think he was. And he failed. Judy said, you're talking about the shooter in Texas. Yes, Monica, I believe he was a Democrat. Pretty sure he was. And he failed a background check, as Judy said. That's what they're saying. Yep. In medications, they are proven to be a problem. They stopped taking next day mental health issues for sure. Well, Alexis, not all mental health issues have to have medication. Some do because they are so severe. Democrats say it's not mental health. Who in the right mind would go out and shoot people they don't even know? Karen said, yeah, he's creepy and crazy serious. Yuri said, he's a dork. They say assault rifle. I say hunting rifle. Sold to MS-13. Yeah, Alexis, I'm wondering, did Robert Francis mean that they were going to be sold, I don't know, to the cartel, MS-13? Were they going to be sold to ISIS? I mean, I don't know. He didn't say. That's why they're not talking about it. Yeah. Robin said you have to have some mental health issues to shoot people. Well, we ain't selling and Robbie boy cannot buy, Barbara said. Yeah, if people would talk some more. Now, I know Dana Lash came out this morning. She used to be with the NRA. She came out this morning and said, look, we need some bipartisan talks, but we really need to sit down and do some bipartisan talks, that we have to really talk about the issue and not in terms of, we're just going to take guns away, because that's not going to do anything. We have to really talk about what is the root of the problem. Now, what the root of the problem is, in most 9 times out of 10, it's appearing to be there's some type of mental health issue. And I get it. There are probably, some family members who don't want to turn their family members in. It's you see this all the time. People who have problems, with people abusing their children, people are remiss about calling CPS on their own family. Get that? But you have to put the children, well-being in priority and put your own feelings about, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. You have to, at a certain point, you have to say, I've got to do something. Whether it's call the police, call CPS, intervene yourself, something. You can't let a child, go into be put in harm's way, and neither can you allow other people. Like when you notice that somebody has a mental illness issue in your family, you need to do something about it, especially if other people are at risk. Judy said it's a heart problem. It's a heart problem. It's a mental health problem. It is an anger problem and not knowing how to properly deal with your anger, plus mental health issue, maybe plus drug issue and alcohol issue, and all those things combined. Karen said, I have no problem calling my family and those kids can't speak for themselves. Exactly, Karen. Exactly. Where is it I heard a kid killed his family and turned himself in? That was in Alabama. Barbara, I think he shot 5 members of his family. I believe so far the count has been he killed 3, and he's 14, and he called the police and turned himself in. Those are the allegations. Judy said, I've called the police on my nephew. It was worth it. Yep, Judy. Yuri said, Dims don't try to hear nothing. They want to take guns, period, that they're power over the people. Absolutely, Yuri. Cindy said, I would if I had a tool for people's safety. My cousin removed dad's funds when cancer went to his brain. Yeah, I mean, that's called elder abuse in the United States. You can call CPS on elderly abuse too, or elder abuse. All right, now we have some more news, believe it or not, and I know you believe it, coming out in regards to Epstein. It's the guy that keeps on giving it. He never goes away. This person that you're looking at on the right, supposedly, his name is Jean-Luc Brunel. He's disappeared. It's amazing how that happens, but he's just disappeared. French authorities want to talk to him. Now, supposedly this guy is 72, over his ties to Epstein as part of their own probe into the house and what went on at the house in Paris, France. And they can't find this guy. He's just missing in action. They've looked everywhere. Sylvia said, I've called DCFS on family. She did a 100% turnaround. Yeah. Sometimes you just have to. So I don't know if they're going to find this French guy. I don't know if they're going to find this French guy alive. I don't know if he knows the Clintons. I don't know. So we'll see what happens with that. I heard last week, Yuri said you heard that he was in Bolivia. Oh, there's Gracie. I don't know how to share the scope while using YouTube. I don't know that you can, Karen. I think you may have to share it later. I read that, yeah, so he could be in Bolivia. Who knows if they'll find him in one piece or whatever. All of these people, it's just so funny. We're told all these things about all these other people, and yet it's seemingly we've done absolutely nothing. I know Gracie came through and she ran in the other room and laid down. I'll sleep in here. Well, guess he had info on someone. Yeah, either that, Barbara, or he just, he knew that he'd be in trouble for things that they'd been doing. So he got out of Dodge, as they say. I don't know where he's at, Bolivia or someplace else, but hopefully they find him. Gracie ran through. Saw a meme saying Dorian went missing after saying he had Clinton evidence. I saw that too, Monica. That was hilarious. Hilarious in some regards and not so hilarious in others. Okay, so we have some more issues coming up. Now, I don't know if you remember us talking about this, and maybe I didn't talk about it in here. Must have no extradition in Bolivia. Yeah, it could be, Barbara. We have the elections, the re-elections of for Netanyahu coming up on the 17th of September. And it seems like that up until that time, we're going to have Iran causing a lot of problems. Karen said they'll all show up eventually. They aren't too bright, getting involved in the horrific stuff they were involved in. Yeah, could be, Karen. Absolutely could be. There's some news out that Iran is now setting up a new military compound that you see right there in Syria. Uh, Israel has said that they're never going to allow that to happen, that they're never going to allow Iran to come in and set up any type of military operation, that they will just blow it off the planet, face of the planet. And they have been doing that. I mean, they have been going into Iraq, I believe Afghanistan, Lebanon, and when they find out that this is where Iran is going to. So you see right there on the left, that is where supposedly another military compound is being put. And there's more news coming out of Iran that tanker, that oil tanker that was released and has been making its way someplace, right? That the Iran has turned off its tracker on that oil ship and that oil tanker. And it was just outside the coast of Lebanon and Syria when they turned off that tracker. You know where that tracker is going. Yeah, don't tell. Yeah. So anyway, don't know what we're going to do about it, if anything. Don't know what Israel is going to do about it, if anything. Some people are saying, well, Iran's just doing that because they're just taking it right to the limit because they want to see how far they can push the United States, but also they're wanting to get ready for upcoming maybe talks with the United States so that they would be in a better position if they have this, all these things happening. It'll make them look stronger when they go into negotiations. So I love the scope. First time viewer. Oh, thank you. It's my country to one. I hope you come back. We're here every day except Wednesday. So I won't be here tomorrow. And I happened to just take yesterday off because it was Labor Day. But we'll be back on Thursday. Keep praying for Israel, Karen said. Absolutely. We have a great group of people in here. It's my country. They come in here every day. And you will love these people because they're really good people, great conservatives, great Christians and believers. And, if you're into that, you'll be in the right place. So welcome. Everybody says welcome. So that's the tanker Andrian Darya, carries roughly 2.1 million barrels of Iranian oil. Karen over on YouTube says welcome. Also, it's my country. And it's estimated to be worth $130 million. It turns off its automatic identification system tracking beacon around noon on Monday. So, according to marinetraffic.com. So, that's really interesting. You haven't really heard anybody say too much about that. Haven't seen anybody say we're going to go out there and seize that ship. I can't imagine that we would do that. Should we? Like I said, Israel may do that, and it may very well go out and do something like that. Or just blow it up, blow it out of the water. I mean, it's headed to Syria. And if it's not headed to Syria, I don't know. Yes, we all need to be praying for Netanyahu. We absolutely do. Our tax dollars at work. Yes, Linda. Tax dollars at work, and what are we going to do about it? Let's see. Yes. Thank you, Judy. Judy says go to susanknowles.com for interesting and informative articles. Now, I have this one. I don't know. I like the guy, but at some point, you have to say it's time to hang it up. He's 87 years old, and he wants to make a comeback for Maricopa County Sheriff. Now, there were some people who didn't like him as sheriff. Some people who liked him because of what he did as sheriff and being hard-nosed. At 87, though, I mean, first of all, I'm not sure why you would want to be a sheriff or anything else, other than retired and having fun with your life at 87. He's been, all the charges against him, President Trump pardoned him, and I would just leave it alone. Robin said, time to retire. It's just like, leave it alone. And he didn't do well last time that he ran against Martha McSally. He lost to her. I think people like him, but again, at a certain point, you have to say, okay, Joe, enough is enough. You're 87. I wish we could say the same thing to Nancy Pelosi and Feinstein and Waters, Maxine Waters. Judy said he needs to retire. My gosh, 87. 87. 87. And maybe he has the ability or feels that he has the ability, but I don't think people have necessarily the confidence that somebody at 87. Do these people crave power? Probably. Some people just don't know how to not work. Carmen said, I read about 6 Christian churches burned in Syria, on the border of Syria and Iran, destroyed crops too. It happens all the time, Barbara. Nobody ever talks about it. Arizona doesn't like him, Yuri said. No matter good or bad, Carmen said, oh Lord, yes, many need to retire from Congress. Yeah, I just, it's just time. Most look forward to retirement. Yeah. But, it's like Maxine Waters and Pelosi and Feinstein and all those people that are up there in years, and Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who, by the way, says she talked to J-Lo and her fiance about how to have a good marriage. Since when do these Hollywood types get to have a personal conversation, personal private conversation with a Supreme Court justice? Mitch needs to go too, Judy said. Yeah, I don't like age discrimination, but 87, time to enjoy. Yeah, pina coladas on the beach. Karen, I don't know that it's age discrimination when, it's like saying, why don't we have cops that are 87 years old? I think there's a certain point where, God love him, and Alexis says Arizona does like him, so that's contrary to what Yuri was saying. I guess it depends on who you are in Arizona. Yuri said he's from the swamp. I don't know that he's from the swamp. He was pardoned by the president. I don't think the president would have pardoned him if he thought he was from the swamp, so I don't know. J-Lo and marriage. I know. Yeah, can you tell me on my 100th marriage how to have a long marriage? Well, let's see. Start back a long time ago. Make him an honorary sheriff. Yeah, Barbara. Of course, that could be dangerous for him. He might take it seriously. But, at a certain point, like I said, you can't have police officers that maybe are doing a great job. Yeah, physical jobs. It's true, but you also have to be mentally. You have to be mentally there. There's some cops with desk jobs, and I don't think at 87. You could come in and be a consultant, something like that. I think that's fine, but to have a job for that long is crazy. There's time to retire, but these people won't let go. Robin said, "My gosh, some corporations force you to retire. How many marriages is too much?" Faba said. I don't know. Let's ask. Who was it? Liz Taylor. She had about 8. So if she were here, we could ask her. Alexis said sheriff is an administrative job. Could be. But even in an administrative job, I just think 87 is just a little bit up there. He's been at Republican fundraisers, Barbara said. Yeah, people like him. Gotta go. Thank you, Susan. Have a blessed day. You too, Renee. Thank you for coming in. We'll see you on Thursday, hopefully. So, yeah. I don't know. It's kind of scary to me. But if the people of Arizona want him, more power to you. Take him. Should be in service position unless they can perform an active exercise regime. Oh, no one should be in service position unless they can perform active exercise regime, Wayne said. Make him sheriff of his backyard, Cindy said. They don't even show up for the majority of the important stuff. Someone votes for them. That's not good. Yeah, Zsa Zsa Gabor. That's right, Barbara. She was another one. I do think there is age discrimination. Lots of 40-year-olds who are nuts. Beto, yes. No one should. Yeah, if you want to be honest about it, once you reach about 35, people start to not want to hire you. That's just the truth. And they have to hire you if they, can't get around it. But I know of what I speak. And when you're 35 and older, number one, you're more expensive. Number two, you don't necessarily follow instructions like they would want you to. You come up with why you shouldn't do it rather than why you're just following what everybody else tells you to do. When he said no one should, true. I could not imagine mom working at 85. again, I just think there ought to be a certain limit for every profession, or for just say, all right, at 80 we're going to cap it off that everybody at 80 needs to retire, no matter what you're doing. Sheriffs do have to qualify at the gun range, all deputies too in Mississippi. Yuri said truth. Yeah, I don't know what would they, if he would have to. You would think that he would need to qualify at the gun range. So that Carmen, I would think that would be just about everywhere. Dad retired at 58. He loved it, enjoyed life. He missed working, but enjoyed his free time. And it doesn't mean that you can't volunteer. It doesn't mean that you can't start your own business, Cindy. But working out in the public, I think in government, I think there ought to be a retirement age for government at least. My dad retired at 55, but he was well prepared to retire, Robin said. But again, I think when you're talking about a government job, there maybe should be a cutoff. So, for all of those who came in late, I just want to show you one more time. This is Gracie at her first ball game yesterday. They on certain nights allow dogs in the park, and she was having a blast. She sat on my lap for most of the time. Yeah, it can depend on the job, Judy. I just think in government, there ought to be a cutoff. Susan, can we end today with a prayer for people in the path of the hurricane, President Trump, and the country? Yes, let me take this off here, and we will do that. Let's go ahead and turn this off. All right, so everybody, let's pray. Holy Spirit, we just come to you today and humble ourselves before you, God. Whenever we are in trouble, we need you, God. And it should be that we come to you every day, whether we're in trouble or not. But today, God, we come to you because we know that the people in the Bahamas have suffered. We know that the people up the coast from Florida on up are going to be suffering with the rains that are coming. And we thank you, God, for slowing down the hurricane. We praise you, God, for doing that. We ask that you send it back into the ocean, God, that it would just veer away from the entire United States, and that it goes out into the ocean and bothers no one, God. And we ask you, God, in a country that is hurting and that needs healing, we ask you, God, for our healing. We humble ourselves before you, God, and I know we should do this more often. We should do this every day, and we should continue being in humbleness before you, God. We ask you to allow justice to be served in this country, God, like never before that we've ever seen. We ask for those wrongdoers, God, to be punished according to your laws and according to the laws that we have here based upon Judeo-Christian principles. And we ask you, God, that you would continue to keep your hand on our president, God, that you would guide him, that he would never forget that you, God, you are his God, that you are working through him, and that he must follow your direction, and that he must stay in contact with you and humble himself before you, God, as our leader. And we pray for all of the leaders in administration, including the vice president. We also pray for the first and second ladies, and we also pray, God, for the entire administration of the Trump administration. God, we ask that you would protect them, that you would guide them, that you would keep them safe, and that you would keep your hand upon your servant, Donald Trump. And God, that you would keep your hand upon us, your servant. In Jesus Christ's name I pray. Amen. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here today. Please continue to pray for those people on the coast. Also, if you will, again, barring any type of thing that would happen, we're going to have God's views on political news. Hopefully Periscope will be working for us today. We have a lot to talk about. We hope to see you there in an hour. So please be there. And until I see you on Thursday, God bless you. Stay safe. Please, if you will, share and retweet this. And we'll see you back here in an hour. Take care. God bless.